She was 15 years old when it happened, just a regular teenager who liked spooky stuff a little too much. It was the day before Christmas, cold enough that your breath hung in the air, but still bright and sunny in that late afternoon kind of way. Her best friend, a super devout Christian girl, had asked her to come along to the old cemetery on the edge of town. Exactly 1 year earlier, on that same date, the girl's grandma had passed away, and nobody from the family had shown up to visit the grave that day. Not one person. It was eating the friend up inside, so the two of them decided to go together, pay their respects, say a little prayer, and leave some flowers. They walked through the rows of headstones, boots crunching on frozen grass, until they found the grandma's plot. The friend knelt down, whispered a prayer, cried a few quiet tears. Lucy, that's our girl, stood there respectfully, hands in her coat pockets, feeling the weight of the moment. After 10, maybe 15 minutes, they turned to leave. The cemetery exit wasn't far, just past this massive ancient banyan tree that had probably been there for 100 years, roots spilling over old graves like giant fingers. And that's when Lucy did the one thing you should never do in a graveyard. She looked back. About 20 feet away, half hidden in the shadow of that huge tree, stood a figure, tall, completely still, dressed in a long, black hooded robe that didn't move an inch, even though there was a breeze. The hood was pulled so low you couldn't see a face, just blackness inside, like someone had cut a hole in the world. It was staring right at them, not moving, not blinking, just watching. Lucy's stomach dropped. She grabbed her friend's sleeve, but the friend was still wiping tears and didn't notice anything. Lucy didn't say a word. Her friend was already wrecked with grief. She didn't need some creepy story on top of it, so they just kept walking, out the rusty gate, back into the normal world. Lucy told herself it was probably just some weird mourner, or maybe a priest, or her eyes playing tricks. Yeah, that's all it was. The very next day, Christmas Eve, the cousin died. You see, a year earlier, that cousin had been driving the car when Grandma's accident happened. Everyone in the family quietly blamed him, even if they never said it out loud. And now, exactly 1 year later, while he was out on his second-floor balcony stringing up Christmas lights, he lost his balance, fell, and didn't make it. That evening, Lucy went with her friend to the cousin's funeral visitation at the family house. The living room packed with relatives, flowers everywhere, people whispering and crying. Lucy was standing next to her friend near the casket when that ice-cold feeling crawled up her spine again. She turned, and there it was. Same tall figure in the same black hooded robe, standing in the far corner of the room like it belonged there. No one else reacted. No one else even looked that direction. But it was staring again, staring straight at Lucy and her friend, head slightly tilted, like it was satisfied. Lucy's heart was hammering so hard she thought she'd pass out. She looked at her friend. Nothing. Her friend couldn't see it. Not at the cemetery the day before, not now, just Lucy. She never told a soul for 3 whole years. Sometimes, late at night, she still wonders, was it death itself coming to collect the debt? Was it Grandma's spirit making sure justice got served? Or was it something way older, way worse that just likes to watch? Whatever it was, it knew Lucy saw it, and it wanted her to know it was real. Second story, we buried my little brother Liam on a bitter cold Tuesday morning. Car wreck. Instant. Closed casket. Mom collapsed twice before they even lowered him into the ground. And Dad. Dad hasn't put a full sentence together since. The very last thing Liam ever said to me, while the paramedics were cutting him out of the twisted metal, was, "Don't let them take me." I thought he was scared of the ambulance ride. I told him it was going to be okay. I lied. 2 nights after the funeral, the doorbell rang at exactly 1:13 in the morning. Dad shuffled to the front door in his robe, flipped on the porch light, and opened it. The scream that came out of him made my ears ring for 10 straight seconds. Because there stood Liam. Same muddy sneakers we buried him in. Same little crescent-shaped birthmark on his left cheek. Same Spider-Man hoodie. Only, his skin looked like it had been left out in the desert for a month. Dry, papery, pulled tight across his face like shrink wrap. He was smiling this huge, goofy 8-year-old smile, but his eyes didn't move at all. Just wide, glassy, locked straight ahead. Mom sprinted past Dad like a woman possessed and threw her arms around him. She hugged him so hard I heard something crack. Liam hugged her back, arms stiff as fence posts, neck never bending, still staring over her shoulder at nothing. I whispered, "Liam?" He rotated his entire upper body toward me without moving his head. The smile vanished. "I told you not to let them take me," he said, voice flat, like someone talking through a broken speaker. We didn't sleep. Dad kept repeating it was grief, trauma, a shared hallucination, anything but real. Mom just made Liam a mug of hot chocolate with extra marshmallows, tucked him into his old bed, and kissed his dry forehead like it was any other Tuesday night. The hot chocolate sat on the nightstand untouched. So did his eyelids. He never blinked, not once. Next morning, gone. Bed made like a hotel maid had been through. Window wide open even though it had been painted shut for 3 years. We called the cops but never told them it was our dead son who'd wandered off. What exactly were we supposed to say? That night, 1:13 a.m. on the dot, doorbell again. Liam. Only now the skin on his face had started to crack. Thin little fissures running from his hairline down his cheeks like someone had taken a razor to dried mud. When he smiled this time, the cracks opened, and I swear I saw something dark underneath. "They're coming soon," he whispered. His voice sounded farther away, like it was echoing up from the bottom of his own grave. Dad tried to slam the door. Liam's hand shot out and stopped it. His fingernails weren't attached anymore. They just slid upward like loose tiles when he pushed. A strip of skin on his neck curled away from the muscle and fluttered to the porch like dead leaf. He didn't even flinch. "They're looking for me," he said, tilting his head so slow it made a soft popping sound. "And now they're looking for you." We bolted every lock in the house. Mom was on her knees in the hallway, sobbing into my hoodie. For 11 straight minutes we heard him scratching at the door, slow, patient, like a cat that knows you'll cave eventually, then nothing. This morning we found the yard covered in footprints, small ones, bare feet, dozens of sets. Some no bigger than a toddler's, some long and thin like someone had stretched the bones. They came out of the woods behind the house, went straight to our front door, and then turned around and went right back into the trees. Dad says we're leaving tonight. Mom won't. She keeps smoothing the blanket on Liam's bed, saying he'll be scared if the house is empty when he comes home. It's 12:59 a.m. right now. I'm sitting on my bedroom floor, back against the door, phone in my shaking hands. Outside, there are footsteps, not one set, dozens. Light, quick little bare feet running circles around the house, tiny claws ticking against the windows, something heavy dragging itself across the siding. And through it all, that same small voice whispering over and over, "Let us in. They know you can hear us." The clock just flipped to 1:13. The doorbell started ringing, and it hasn't stopped once in 4 straight minutes. It's not going to stop. They're here. Third story. I've always liked the dark. Never been scared of it. When the house is quiet and everyone else is asleep, I'll wander around with all the lights off, grab a drink, scroll on my phone, whatever. It feels peaceful. At least it used to. Lately, though, something's off. It started with little flickers at the edge of my vision. You know when you think you see someone standing in a doorway, but when you turn, there's nothing there? Except sometimes I swear whatever it is ducks just out of sight, like it's playing hide and seek with my peripheral vision. Long black hair, pale legs. The kind of image that makes you think of that girl from The Ring or The Grudge before your brain catches up and says, "Nah, just shadows." I kept brushing it off. Tired eyes, tricks of the light, too many horror movies, normal stuff. Then I remembered something from when I was a kid. I was maybe 9 or 10, sitting on the couch, watching cartoons on a Saturday morning. The living room was bright, sun coming through the blinds, totally normal day. I glanced up from the TV, and there she was, standing right in the middle of the room, clear as you are to me right now. A girl, maybe a little older than me, wearing nothing but an oversized t-shirt and underwear. Her hair was long, black, wet-looking, hanging down and completely hiding her face. The weirdest part? The light didn't hit her right. It was like she was standing in her own patch of darkness, even though the room was full of sunlight. She didn't move, just stood there. I blinked, she was gone. I never told anyone because I figured I'd imagined it. But now, I think she never really left. The other night, I walked into the kitchen for a late-night snack. Pitch black. I flipped the light switch and holy crap, there was a tall shadow person standing in the doorway that connects the kitchen to the bedroom. Completely black, no features, just a solid silhouette. It was turned toward the living room, like it had been watching TV. The second the light hit it, its head snapped toward me, super fast, like an owl. And then it just melted into nothing. Gone in half a second. I stood there with my hand still on the light switch for like 5 minutes, heart pounding, telling myself it was just the coat rack or something stupid. But the coat rack doesn't have a head that turns on its own. Then there's the feeling, the worst part. Sometimes when I'll be sitting on the couch or lying in bed and I'll get this ice-cold sensation like someone is staring at me. Not just looking, staring. Like they're standing right behind me, breathing down my neck, judging every single thing about me. I'll spin around fast and there's never anything there, but the feeling doesn't go away for a long time. And the sound. God, the sound. A couple weeks ago, I was trying to fall asleep. Room was dead quiet, no fan, no AC, nothing. Out of nowhere, I hear this low, wet croaking noise, like an old woman trying to talk with a throat full of gravel. It went on for maybe 10 seconds, close, right by my ear. I yanked the blanket over my head like a little kid and didn't move until morning. I don't know if I'm losing it. I don't know if it's the same girl from when I was little, or if something else moved in and brought friends. All I know is the dark doesn't feel peaceful anymore. When I walk through the house at night now, I keep every light on, and I still feel her watching.